Jeremiah Smythe of Rowan, Scottsboro, Pennsylvania, is known to us as the grandfather of moving. It was a late spring day in 1838 when Mr. Smythe was confounded with the problem of relocating all his belongings from his house in southern Peacoxington to his new home in the hills of Rowan, Scottsboro. After months of calculations, many hours spent by candlelight, volumes of paper cast upon the floor, Jeremiah finally constructed his formula for success. He called his invention moving. And with some hard work, team effort, and a slow explanation, his dream became reality.
Gentlemen, 1,000 remarks of laudation for you for showing up here this morning. New mold is on the horizon, and we are to be the humble vanguards of tomorrow. Now before you, I say before you, are the effects of my entire livelihood, so carefully and erstwhile stored at my southern home in Peacoxington. Now, as you all know, there has been an aggrandizing of hustle and bustle in my town of lifelong residence. And it has procured a level that simply does not no longer soothe my senses. My faculties have seen to them a favor for the greener pastures. The northern town of Rowan, Scottsboro shall now be my home. Now, what is probably seating yourself as a thought in the front lawn of your cerebellum is how shall he provision himself up in his home of Rowan, Scottsboro? How will he provide for himself? To what destiny lies his effects? And I tell you this, gentlemen, I, Jeremiah Smythe, though they be good, God-fearing people, shall not buy the smallest basket nor the largest ship rope from any Rowan Scot. I shall have all my things with me, gentlemen. We will move them. Now, I trust you've all been briefed. Gentlemen, I beseech thee to the origination of the task at hand. That is to say, let many hands make light work. Hop to it. I got this one.
All right, boxes. You heard the man.
Move! Confound it, lad. You can't get these parcels to propel themselves through verbulation. You gotta use your muscles. And the hors d'oeuvre side portions of wits that our Lord so miserly bestowed upon you.
Step aside, Bugsy. I know what he's talking about.
Get to it, Mo.
Cease and desist, young hand. Christ on a hammock. When God was handing out brains, you would... Oh, I have no time for this. I see that my options have dissolved due to your meek plateau of understanding. Let me summarize it in 2 more syllables, if you please. Watch and do. Ergo, moving. Yes, yes.
It took Jeremiah from sunup to sundown to explain his novel methods for stacking, lifting, carting, and caretaking. But finally, the men got it. Moving. And what a sight it was. People came from miles around to see this miraculous feat. By the time they arrived, the spectacle was diminished. Jeremiah's team of men had completed their moving feat by then. But this sheer brazen act of moving lended its impressiveness not only to the action itself, but also to what was left behind. Nothing. And it was that nothing, that absent space where personal belongings used to lay, that impressed the country folk that day and scared them. In fact, faster than you can say hot possum pie on a griddle, they had Jeremiah Smythe strung up and burned at the stake. But his memory and method lived on. Today, in the year 2010, a group of brave young men have endeavored to keep moving alive for posterity and for profit. Local Muscle Movers, a Portland, Maine moving company. Local muscle, making tomorrow's dreams of object relocation a reality